Let's go out to Portland, Oregon, and talk to the great Maggie. What's up, Maggie?
Hey, John, how are you?
Partying. Dude, it's not even awake time yet in Portland. Good
It's
morning to
not.
you.
It's like 7:45.
What's up?
Yeah. Yeah. So, wanted to first say thank you for having me on the show. I watch your content like crazy, especially during this time in my life, and it's been really comforting. So, if anyone's ever said you're like pretty much like dad for all of us and helping us through all this stuff, anyways, you
Well, I
are.
appreciate that. I think
So,
most people watch and go, dude, that guy's life is a train wreck. I'm not near that bad. Not near that bad. We're doing great, honey.
yeah.
Well, thank you
So,
for being in our gang. So what's up? How can I help?
yeah. So my question is how do I establish boundaries during a trial separation? Keep in mind, my partner and I were together for about 15 months. We were engaged 6 months into the relationship, so we weren't married. We were due to be married August 28th of this year, and we decided to separate August 16th.
Oh, yikes. What happened? Do you
Yeah.
have a kid?
No kids.
Okay.
We definitely did the no of naming our kids before we had them, and
Yep.
so
That's okay. Hey, I mean, you went all in.
yeah.
What happened?
Yeah, so there's a multitude of things. One of, or few of which I've owned because it took some time and some therapy outside of this to figure out. For me, there's some insecurities of emotional infidelity. There's jealousy on my end where his attention was going. He would use social media and applications heavily. On his end, there was a lack of regulation of anger. It would be chalked up to this is how I express my feelings. He'd yell at me, call me names, and then we constantly did this thing of making up, breaking up. We both were guilty of it. Name calling on his end, anxiety on both of our end after all the responses and trauma have, are pretty much accumulated.
So why? Wait. It sounds like you're married to a really, really immature. You're not married. You were dating a really immature guy. You're dating a child in a man's body.
Yeah.
Why? Why a trial separation?
Primarily, if I'm being honest with you, John, I think a lot of the stuff that he would say that his rationale was I needed space. I mean, we got a house together and everything, and I moved out of the house, and his rationale is I need to get back to the things that made me happy because we both did kind of the Venn diagram, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our circles were right over each other. And so we had an unhealthy, like we weren't ourselves, basically. And he wanted to get back to his life or his,
What does that mean? More phone and more apps and more disconnection from reality?
Well, it's sounding like it because as soon as we started to separate, it'd be a bunch of TikToks being sent my way. And I actually found out we told each other we were deleting our Instagrams. And I found out through my friend that he actually downloaded his.
Yeah.
So
he's done. He's done with you, Maggie.
Yeah.
He's done. And
okay.
I don't want to be a jerk about it, and I just want to be as direct and honest as I can. I think he's out.
Yeah.
Because
there
can be
that if he actually cared.
Well, I mean, there can be an unhealthy overlap of that Venn diagram, to use your picture you were drawing. There can be like, hey, we've been together a year. We're just being gross. We're all Dawson's Creeked out, right? It's all like we're in love and it's gross and we're just like, I don't want to wait. Like that's part of the first year. Especially y'all crammed the first year of dating plus engagement plus we're about to get married, right? In the first 15 months or so. That's a lot, but man, things get out of whack. Everything is about each other, and that's kind of awesome.
Right.
And then there's a return to reality. Like, I got to go work. And I also really love playing guitar, and you think my guitar playing's terrible. And so, and I like to paint, and it's like, I don't want you to paint me like one of your French girls, right? So, like, like, life happens, and you kind of come back that way. But I don't have to leave you.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think that's what's really messing with my head right now and I would ask him, and I owned it's my insecurity, but I really feel like it was an intuition of, well, then why are you still saying you want to have kids with me? You still want to be with me and all these buzzwords, because he understood the emotional hook that he had in me. And
Hey, this has nothing to do with your insecurity. You love this guy, and he's dragging you behind his car.
Yeah.
And then occasionally he pulls up to a stoplight, and you stand up and wipe the scrapes and mud and rocks off of your body, and he kisses you out the window, and it feels so good to be seen and loved. And then he hits the gas again and starts dragging you again. You love this guy.
Wow.
There's nothing wrong with you. You don't have a bunch of things to fix. He can't put down other women on his phone. He can't put down his phone. He wants to have his quote unquote old life where he sits on the couch and eats potato chips and smokes weed and plays with his cell phone, and not do the grown up thing, which is, I love you. Let's build a life together. You get a vote. I get a vote. Let's make something amazing. He's not ready for that. But in his defense, you keep showing up.
Yeah.
And for some reason, you think so little of yourself that you keep putting up with this.
Right.
My rules for a quote unquote trial separation are informed by the great Terry Real, and they have to be very specific. We are separating for a season for the following, and there has to be regular check-in time, and there has to be some rules, like we're not going to hook up, we're not going to date, we're not, whatever y'all's rules happen to be for this separation. But there's got to be an explanation. Why are we doing this, and for how long? And I'm going to return on date X. And it's non-negotiable. I'm going to walk out the door, right? When you start calling me names again, when you start, right? But the way you just rattled it off, he takes his rage and anger out on you. He is verbally abusive. He may tell you he's not hooking up with other people, but he's sure engaging with them in a sexual manner on social media. You've told him, hey, you're constantly having your face buried in these screens. Makes me feel isolated and alone on the same couch with you. And he's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong. So what I'm doing is I'm pushing really hard on the other side of the teeter-totter, hoping you'll push back, and you're not. So am I closer to reality? Am I closer to truth? Or am I missing something here?
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty close with the whole social media thing, because I mean, I found out a lot of stuff, and I'll own that, and I owned that in couples therapy when we took it.
You own what? What do you have to own?
I owned, well, to his thing is I went through his phone, and I found out a lot of stuff that if I didn't go to, and there's that, confirmation bias there, if I didn't go through it, then I wouldn't have known all the things that I know now.
That's not confirmation bias.
Yeah.
That is, I was being lied to for so long, and I trusted my gut. Was it cool to go through his phone? Probably not. But I did, and I found out a whole bunch of stuff. That's not confirmation bias.
Okay.
Confirmation bias is you so badly wanting him to be the guy you marry that you overlook all of this negative crap. The fact that he's left you. Behavior is a language. He's told you very clearly, I'm done with this. I want my life. If you want to like weasel into little parts of my life, I'll have you, because I like making out with you. And, I like it when you pick up the dinner tab. But when it comes to billing, confirmation bias is you throw all that away and you just think of the one day a month when he's really sweet to you. And you're like, see, he's loving.
Right.
Okay. That is confirming this one thing that you want so badly to be true. You're so biased towards he's a good guy and I want to marry him that you throw away all the bad stuff. That's confirmation bias. Going through his phone and finding out he's cheating on you is not confirmation bias. That's reality. And that sucks. You have nothing to own. Nothing to own. Other than I should have told you I don't trust you. I want to see your phone.
Right.
And he should have, because he's engaged to you, been like, I don't care. Here's my code. Right?
Yeah, that definitely didn't happen. I mean, he gave me his code, but it was like a trust of like, I'm not going to go through your phone, kind of an assumption you're not going to go through my phone, but we're going to have each other's passcodes. But Yeah,
This is a
that
whole
one.
other call, but I'm super weirded out by that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So now it's like it just seems like I was being strung along, and
You are right
you know,
now. Did you all both put your
yeah.
name on the mortgage?
So I did. He did a buyout, and I took him completely out of that
Okay.
whole situation. And right now, I made it clear to him. I'm like, I feel like this is kind of being strung along, and he, would give me timelines, right? Like at the first of the year, I'd be willing to do
Hold on.
couples
Okay,
counseling with
we're
you.
done with him. Here's what we're gonna do. You create the boundaries.
Right.
So today, I want you to text him, not call, text him and say,
Mhm.
from this point forward, I am creating the boundaries in this relationship or what's left of it. We will talk again in 30 days and we'll talk in person only.
Right.
And I'm going to block him and you're off social media. And you know what's going to be for the next 30 days? Eerily quiet, devastatingly quiet, heartbreaking, silence. Because you made plans with this dude.
Yeah.
And he's a child and he treated you like crap. And I wouldn't say that if he had just broken up with you and just said, hey, like this is all moving so fast. I am reconsidering. You're not the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with. That's devastating and hard, but at least he looked at you in the eye like a grown man and told you the truth.
Right.
But he's not. He's a coward. And he's hiding behind a cell phone.
Right.
And I'm sorry that you're enduring that. And I'm sorry that this whole thing is so lit up with gaslights that you have somehow figured out a way to make this your fault.
Yeah.
You're not being insecure. You're being a woman who loves a man who told her, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. I want to make babies with you. Here's their names. Let's buy a home together. And then he was like, I want my old life back. Never mind. That's not insecurity. That's heartbreak.
Yeah.
And you knew something was wrong and off because you're a woman who trusts her intuition. And so, yes, you violated his trust. You went through his phone, which if you're engaged, why wouldn't you share each other's phones? What are y'all hiding from each other? If you're going to spend the rest of your life together and make humans together, you can't see my text messages. What kind of weird things are going on? That's a whole other call. But you didn't have confirmation bias. You don't have some psychological misnomer. You don't have some psychological issue. You found out he's cheating on you, and that's devastating, and it sucks, and it hurts. Here's the path forward. I want you to call 2 girlfriends today. And I want you to say, we're going out tonight. And I want you to say out loud all the things you just told me in person with them sitting there. And I want you to ask them, I'm thinking about this thing being completely over because I'm taking back control of my life. I'm taking back agency because I'm freaking Maggie from Portland and I'm worth that. And I'm not going to pick up little breadcrumbs of love and little breadcrumbs of physical affection and try to create a loaf of bread out of that. I'm worth way more than that. Because there's a guy out there that would love to cook something nice for me. And is going to respect me and completely show up. And maybe he was into his phone and maybe he was into his video games or whatever stuff. But now we're together. He's going to be into me. I'm sorry you're going through it. I hate that for you. But don't ever forget this phrase. I'm worth more than this because you are, Maggie.